hockey friends all over the world. This is yours truly, Lou Gamlin, along with my tag team partner, Ryan Jones, and we're here on the ACHA Broadcast Network. Day 3 of pool play, and this one's for all the marbles right here. We've got the top 2 teams in Pool C, and that being Florida Gulf Coast and Michigan. We've got quite the scenario that's shaped up, Ryan, as these 2 teams have something to play for, but we still have Fordham in the mix.
Yeah, so basically the breakdown of the scenario, if you're the Wolverines, win and you're in. So the Wolverines would go 3-0. They are sitting at 2-0 right now. And it's simple as that. Score more goals and you're in. For Florida Gulf Coast, if they win, things get a little bit more complicated. We just watched, if you joined us on the ACHA Broadcast Network, Fordham taking care of business versus Nebraska doing exactly what they need to do. But because they beat Florida Gulf Coast, if Florida Gulf Coast beats Michigan, a whole lot of weird things happen, and we'll get into that.
Here's what I know. Florida Gulf Coast, first they must win, and win by at least 3 goals. If they do that, but they cannot give up more than 4, because that'll create a 3-way tie. If they do that, then it goes to goal differential, and then it's going to be just a convoluted mess. But right now, a win or a tie for Michigan, and they're advancing. So Florida Gulf Coast and Michigan, if they do lose, has to keep it close. Here we go, puck back in the Michigan zone. Wolverines will go from right to left on your computer screen in their maize and their blue with the maize trim. Florida Gulf Coast in their home whites with the blue and teal trim. Interesting note, Ryan, Michigan starting a 3rd different goaltender in 3 games in this national tournament.
Yeah, I mean, the goaltending play has been pretty solid for Michigan, so not sure if that's due to injury concerns, either injury concerns, just amount of time that they have to. Sorry, I just got distracted as the Michigan attack coming in there. But, I mean, if you got 3 good goaltenders, why not use all 3 and see which one you want to go with for the rest of the way?
And if you're on the other end with Florida Gulf Coast, they've got Jared Birch, who has been a mainstay in the national tournament. He's a senior. He was all tournament team a couple of years ago for Florida Gulf Coast, as it looks like we're going to get Florida Gulf Coast with a delayed offsides. So he didn't start the opening game. Michael Kirch started it against Fordham, but Jared Birch was in goal in the last game. .968 save percentage, gave up 1 goal in their win over the University of Nebraska. So here we go. Michigan will come up over the line, 3-on-3. They're going to be led by Logan Gare, who takes a huge hit in the Florida Gulf Coast zone. Puck played out to center ice. Michigan will backtrack with it. Alex Truba has it. Dumps it down into the Gulf Coast zone. They're going to wave off the icing. Chasing after it will be Gulf Coast. They dump it in and out of the zone. Going up with it is Christoph Malcolm. Plays it over the line. Another big hit over in the near corner in the Michigan end. Just about a couple minutes gone. We're scoreless.
Yeah, both teams establishing the body there, and Logan Gare getting absolutely destroyed right there at the end of the bench. That protective padding right there where the bench ends and the glass starts. So I've seen a couple of teammates actually get hit into that and suffer some pretty gnarly concussions.
Oof.
So it was nice to see that Logan Gare jumps up right away, because that can be a pretty dangerous area of the ice. Even though it is a clean hit, it is a pretty dangerous spot on the ice just based on the bench.
Drew Casey threw the shot at Jared Birch. He hung on to it, so 2-0 shots on goal. There's a centering play that's going to end up going all the way down the length of the ice. It's not going to be icing, as Michigan initiated that play. Going after it for the Wolverines will be Jake Stewart. So, again, a win or a tie for Michigan. They're in. Florida Gulf Coast needs a win and a 3-goal advantage in this one, as long as it's not over 4 goals to make it so it's not up to 8. Crazy situation. Fordham with 8 goals right now. It's all set up kind of wild. So we'll keep you informed on this one. Florida Gulf Coast will bring it out to center ice. Going after it is going to be Connor Black. Black played a big game in that second game against University of Nebraska. Puck loose in the right face-off circle. Here comes Michigan with it. They skated up over the line. Timothy Wilson, he'll dump it down towards Birch, and he's going to glove it off and hang on, as we've got 16:54 left to go, Ryan. In this opening period, both teams still scoreless.
Yeah, I kind of like the start a little bit for Michigan, just favor it a little bit more. Only 3 minutes in, really nothing too crazy's happened other than a couple of nice hits. But it does seem like the Blue and Maize, like you said, has spent a little bit more time in this Gulf Coast zone.
Ooh, there's one.
Yeah, nice little test right off the draw, but pretty easily saved there for Birch.
Timothy Wilson again tried to get one past Birch, and he was joined along with, it looked like, Tim Hasselbeck for Michigan. Michigan's leading goal scorer, Michael Ficcaro, with 2. They haven't scored a ton of goals. They had 5 in the opening game and just 2 yesterday against Spanenberg, who had, 63 saves against Michigan in that game yesterday. There's one thrown at Birch, and he'll glove it off easily off the face-off, and it'll bring it back to the face-off circle. Ryan, Florida Gulf Coast 2 years ago made it to the semis and lost a heartbreaker to Calvin 3-2. They were up in that game going into the third period, I believe. So I know they want to get back and rectify that. Puck played in behind the Gulf Coast zone. They're going to dig away at it. Does Michigan. Aaron Moss, he's the leader on that team. There's one that they tried to tip towards the goal. Ficcaro over the right side with another one. Oh, and it just leaked right through the goal crease. And it's going to be cleared but not out. Held in at the point by Terrell. He throws it towards the side of the goal and thrown around the boards. Gulf Coast will come up with it. They'll skate it out in the neutral zone and play down into the Michigan end. Just about 4 minutes gone in this opening period. 6 shots on goal for Michigan already in the first 6 minutes as they play it over wide of the goal does Gulf Coast. They're going to dig away at it over in the near corner. Now here comes Michigan. They're going to skate it out of the zone. Cross-ice pass a little too strong for Moss. They're going to dump it down and play it for a line change. Ryan, a little over 4 minutes gone, scoreless tie.
Yeah, it was about maybe 6 to 12 inches away from not being a scoreless tie as that puck just rolling along right in the crease there. Thought we were going to get the one to break it. Has a good chance here. That's the 7th shot for Michigan. Overall, looks like they're really gunning just to win this one in regulation, so that way we have no funny business and they move right to the semis.
Kelso with that shot on goal. Gulf Coast trying to get out of the zone. Michigan speed on defense. There's a shot deflected wide of the goal, taken that time by Reschik, I should say. And then we get some pushing and shoving after the whistle as both these teams know what's at stake. Ryan, big implications, as you mentioned. Michigan would just like to take care of business, not worry about it. If you're Gulf Coast, they got to win, but they've got to put the heat on here in this, early.
Yeah, the shot right there, right in the slot there. And then Seth Cohen for Florida Gulf Coast taking exception kind of after the whistle there. Florida Gulf Coast going to need to be careful. I know the refs will let these guys play a little bit, but we saw earlier a couple ejections in some games early. Penalty trouble in the Nebraska-Fordham game, which cost Nebraska a chance to play spoiler. So overall, you're going to need to play mistake-free, disciplined hockey all game long if Florida Gulf Coast wants a chance at playing spoiler for both Fordham and Michigan.
Well, I'll tell you what, I didn't think there would be an opportunity for Michigan to keep up that 65-shot pace, but if they keep this pace up, they're right at it. They're at about a 90-shot pace. And we're going to get a penalty call coming up to Florida Gulf Coast. Looks like a trip. Yeah. So with 14:42 to go, Ryan, Michigan will go to the power play for the first time here this afternoon.
Right on cue, Florida Gulf Coast taking a penalty. It's going to be number 2 Pupilla for a trip. And 9 shots now as the shot count's just going to continue to increase as they get the man advantage. Let's see if Michigan can get set up in that offensive zone and start releasing a barrage of shots on goaltender Jared Birch.
Well, if Michigan does win and advance this afternoon, they will take on a Michigan Collegiate Hockey Conference fellow opponent in Grand Valley who won in big fashion, 5-2 over the Central Florida Knights. Here's a short-handed opportunity with a shot. Whistled away up over the top of the goal. Beautiful play by Matruska for Gulf Coast. But here comes Michigan quickly down the other way. Good defensive play by Gulf Coast. Aaron Moss came back on the power play. Michigan sets it back up, getting away with giving up a shorthanded opportunity with a drive. It's loose right out in front of the doorstep, and they score! Aaron Moss on the power play And Ryan, I'm going to use a term that you've used with me all week. Sooner or later, you throw a ton of them at the net, one of them's going to go in, and it sure did.
Yeah, and then finally on the 12th opportunity, 12th shot, the Michigan goes up on the power play with just 6 minutes gone here. Puck was loose, comes out to Aaron Moss, and let's see, that's Aaron Moss now his 5th point, 2nd goal, 3 apples for Moss. He's having himself quite the tournament so far, leading the Michigan men out to the early lead.
12-0 shots on goal in favor of Michigan in the first 6 minutes of this one. They're just smothering the net as they've done all tournament, and they've got a 1-0 lead. They're going to call icing on Michigan, but a power play goal for Michigan. 3 or 4 shots on that last flurry, and there was nothing that Jared Birch could do on that one. I mean, he was on all fours as they're just peppering him with shots.
Yeah, I mean, once he starts flailing around and found himself sitting on his wallet, and that entire, I guess, his left side of the net, our right side, was just left wide open. Oh. It doesn't really get much easier than that for Moss.
Puck throwing down off. There's the first shot on goal taken from center ice. And that one was taken by number 21 for Gulf Coast, that being Spencer Bell. And they'll throw it in behind the goals. I don't know, they haven't registered it on the board, so maybe they won't count it. But it's going to be played out to center ice, quickly up over the line. And it's going to be deflected, stolen away briefly by Michigan. They fight for it in the neutral zone. Now it throws down into the Gulf Coast end. Here comes Michigan trying to make a play on it again. They've got a 1-0 lead on Florida Gulf Coast as we're just about 7 minutes gone in this opening period. Gulf Coast now will skate it out of the zone. Lead pass coming up for Connor Black. Black will bring it up over the line. Comes in. Oh, and he's met with a big hit that time by Alex Trouba right in the face-off circle. Clean hit, and there's one returned by Gulf Coast. So the intensity definitely picking up. Puck played still in the Michigan zone with a shot. Oh, my goodness. That almost squeezed it into the goal. Right there would have been Seth Cohen for the scraps. But now it's played out to center ice, and Gulf Coast will come up with it. 12-2 now, shots on goal in favor of Michigan. Puck loose down in the near, and there's a shot whistled wide of the goal. And Florida Gulf Coast, they're not letting up. They're going to keep the pressure on now. 12:23 to go here in this opening period. 1-0 Michigan.
Yeah, you got to like the response from Florida Gulf Coast right now, getting their first 2 shots finally registering up on the scoreboard there. And you're just going to have to throw some towards the net. And I like the pace that the Eagles have responded with after giving up the early goal.
Again, the winner of this game, or this pool rather, will play Grand Valley tomorrow afternoon in the first game of the Twin Bill for the semis. And we've got some interesting scenarios, that we can talk about, Ryan, for the next semi, which is going to be after. Coming up next, you and I are going to have the game between the Sioux and South Florida. And you've seen the Sioux play. Who would have thought that if they tie, they're out?
Yeah, I mean, with the way that Sioux College from Ontario has been playing, I mean, personally, I don't think that there will be a tie. You never know what can happen in playoff hockey. But so far, they've really dominated their 2 games. They opened up with a 10-1 victory over University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, and then yesterday beating Ramapo College 10-5. And even though Sioux College had the lead the entire game and really dominated time of possession, creating some easy scoring chances, they did end up going with the goalie change because giving up 5 goals, they were pretty shaky, even though they were much better than the Ramapo Roadrunners. So goaltending going to be key for Sioux College going forward as the competition gets tighter.
2-1 the other way, but Florida Gulf Coast was back, and a good play by Gulf Coast as puck is still played in the Gulf Coast zone. Cross-ice pass, a little too strong, but now Gulf Coast nifty passing to get it back down in the Michigan zone. They'll skate it down there, played by the Wolverines. Gowell will play it. He'll outlet it. It's out to center ice, chasing after it is Howard. Played down now in the Gulf Coast zone. They dig away at it over in the near corner. They're going to chop at it down there. 3 Gulf Coast guys and 1 Wolverine. Now we've got 2-on-3 leading the way for Gulf Coast. It looks like it's Jacobo Perez, that was Mason Lundquist. They play it down in the far corner. Chasing after it now is going to be Shea Matruska for Gulf Coast. They chop at it down in the Michigan end. There's a centering play right out in front, and it's going to be gobbled up and hung on to by Heilman, who's getting his first start of the Nationals. And with 10:53 to go, still a 1-0 game for Michigan.
Yeah, Heilman does look a little bit shaky. He was kind of caught out of position on those first 2 shots by Florida Gulf Coast. And it's interesting that Michigan wants to move away from Justin Flanagan. He was the one who's he posted a shutout in their opening game, and right now he's not even dressed for Michigan. So maybe there is some injury concern there. We will have to find out.
Moss with a pass coming in on goal the other way as Vaccaro was right at the doorstep, but Birch again showing why he's got that Division III All-American pedigree that he's had over the last couple of years. Puck played now in the Michigan zone. They're going to dig away at it. They come up with the loose puck. They played out the center ice. Given off now to Stripling. Stripling bumped as he brings it into the Florida Gulf Coast zone. Good play, though, to hold it in by Vaccaro. Bringing it into an oncoming Casey. Casey with a shot. Whistles wide of the goal. Rebound thrown towards Birch. All the way around the boards. Still held in now. Gulf Coast will come up with the puck, and they'll lift it out to center ice. 1-0 Michigan. Played on the goal by Aaron Moss on the power play at 6:05. We're halfway through this opening period. Glad you could join us here on the ACHA Broadcast Network, along with yours truly, Lou Gamlin, Ryan Jones, bringing you this game for all the marbles in Pool C for the trip to the semifinals. Puck rolls around the boards, and Gulf Coast will hang on. Puck deflected in the neutral zone. Now skating it up over the line, throwing into the zone is Mulholland. They played around the boards deep in the Michigan end. They've got it over on the far side. Held in with a drive. Kicked away by Heilman. Centering play. Another save by Heilman. Oh, he's sharp now. He had to be on that. As we're going to go to our media timeout. 9:20 to go, opening period. Aaron Moss the difference. 1-0 Michigan here on the ACHA Broadcast Network.
The 2019 ACHA National Championships are brought to you by Aries Sportswear, official merchandise partner of the ACHA. Howie's Hockey Tape, the official tape provider of the ACHA. And the City of Frisco.
Welcome back to the ACHA Broadcast Network. We had a discussion right in front of us, down in front of the ice with a couple of the referees, with Zach Warson, one of the co-commissioners of the D3. We don't know what that's about. We're not even going to speculate. We're going to stick with what's at hand here in the game. 9:20 to go in this opening period. We got a 1-0 lead for Michigan.
Yeah, 1-0 lead for Michigan, and a good play by Heilman right before the stop. It's 2-on-1 the other way.
Here comes Michigan up over the line with a play in behind the goal. Played around the boards, going to be held in at the point. Taken towards the goal by Jake Stewart. They throw it around the far side. There's a centering play. Almost tipped in by Hasselbeck over in the far corner. Under 9 minutes to go now in the opening period. 1-0 our score. 13-5 shots on goal in favor of Michigan. They dig away at it over in the corner. They finally try to come up with the puck. They still chop at it, 2-on-2 right in front of us. There's one held in at the point. There's a drive. Whistled up over the top of the goal. Gowell has it. Cross-ice pass over to Stewart. Stewart throws it towards the goal. Kicked away to the left side. And Gulf Coast will clear it the length of the ice.
Yeah, Stewart with some nice chances there. Was able to step up, tee one up, and then throws one in for a redirect. Unfortunately, doesn't find any Michigan sticks, but 2 really smart plays from the D-man.
Michigan holds it back in the Florida Gulf Coast zone. Now here comes Gulf Coast. They're going to bring it down up over the line. Coming in on goal. Wheeling and dealing that time was Horvath trying to get towards the goal. But Heilman will hang on. And that'll keep the face-off deep in the Michigan end. Ryan, the other scenario that we've got for tonight over on the other rink is going to be Kansas against Fairfield, and Kansas needs to win outright. If it's a tie, it goes to Fairfield because, again, of the goals against average. As contrast in styles, Kansas, they're an offensive juggernaut. Fairfield, more of a defensive team.
Yeah, I was able to at least call the Fairfield game, and the Stags are really, really good at keeping the puck 200 feet away from their goal, and when it is in their zone, they're really effective at getting a good breakout, creating offense in transition, and that should be quite a doozy of a matchup, as once again, kind of a win-you're-in scenario. So I think overall, we really only had one pool play this morning that was pretty much outright decided before we got started. So having three pools that are going to be decided in this final day is just great.
Oh, it is. It's great for the sport and for our tournament this week. In past, we've come into the last day when they've had maybe one or two that were yet to be decided. So play here going to be now in the neutral zone. Gulf Coast comes up with it, and it's played right in the neutral zone. Coming in on a switch was Michael Ficcaro, but Gulf Coast again with possession. They bring it up over the line. Seth Cohen brings it down into the Michigan zone. 6:55 to go here in this opening period. 1-0 in favor of the Wolverines. That one's going to hop over the stick of Alfonso Diaz, and Birch is going to have to come out to play it. Puck played over on the far side, down to 6:40 to go in the opening period. There's one deflected away by Birch. Held in over in the corner. Chasing after it is going to be Stripling. Stripling tried to feed it, but instead it's going to be back out to center ice. Michigan's got to get onside.
Yeah, Moss coming in along that red line there, and a shot right across the goal crease. This top line for Michigan is going to be the one that's going to propel them to the victory as that shot gets gloved by Heilman. But yeah, this first line for Michigan right now creating a lot of offensive opportunity, and thinking that you're going to be calling Moss's name all day long.
Tremblay came down on that last rush for Gulf Coast, and he dropped it nicely to Seth Cohen, who's got a couple of points here this weekend, and he put it right into the glove again of Heilman, and he hung on. Face off to the left of the goaltender Heilman. They win it. Florida Gulf Coast win it, but we got a 2-on-1 the other way. Reschik comes up over the line. He waits patiently with a shot. Rebound is loose. They dig away at it. Right out in front, Birch finally covers it up. And we get some pushing and shoving after the whistle, as you normally do, Ryan, when there's a scrum down by the goal as they look to establish their position. 14-7 now, shots on goal.
Yeah, nice play by Reschik, just being patient, not forcing the issue, and gets a good shot on goal, but a great back check from the Eagles to basically negate that 3-on-1 opportunity. And Reschik had really no other option than just to send it into the pads by Birch. Birch in good position, and a good stop by the Eagles.
Puck played out to center ice where Michigan tries to come up with it, but instead a good defensive play by David Cross. Throws it around the boards, down deep in the far side in the Michigan end. They get it out of the zone now. Michigan avoids a check, but then falling down, playing the puck was Casey. They now dump it down into the Florida Gulf Coast zone. Birch will come out to try to flip it off. He does to Perez. Perez will outlet the next pass. Michigan there at mid-ice. And a big check right in front of us. Horvath lays the lumber that time to Stewart. Here's a giveaway up over the line. Casey's play. Poke checked away by Perez for Florida Gulf Coast. And then a shot that Birch will cover up. This game's got some great pace to it, Ryan.
It certainly does. Tough to see from up here, but was close to maybe a boarding call on Horvath here. So the Eagles looking like they caught a break. But so far looking really like the patience from the Michigan's offense when they get the chance. And the Eagles, though, right now doing a great job on defense as well to keep this just a one-goal lead.
There's off the face-off a shot that's kicked away before it got to the goal. Michigan will throw it down in the corner, but it's intercepted by the Gulf Coast. They play it now. The Eagles will play it out to center ice where they'll try to clear it down into the far side, set up a play out from behind the goal. 14-7, shots on goal, 5 minutes to go here in this opening period. Aaron Moss the difference for Michigan, a 1-0 lead for the Wolverines. They play it over the near zone. Now they clear it out to center ice. Going after it is Hasselbeck for Michigan. His pocket is picked, and it's going to be played back in the corner. They chop away at it at center ice. Here comes Gulf Coast up over the line. Kevin Philbin tries to center one, but it's stolen away by Timothy Wilson, and he's going to try to play it out of the zone. It's deflected finally out of the zone. As being tied up was Eric Anton. He skates it down into the near corner, showing his wheels, trying to bump Craig Fitzgerald off the puck, but good luck with that, Ryan. 6'2", 225. It's going to take a big hit.
Yeah, and they're still kind of tied up behind the play there, needing to get back on defense. But this game is going to be physical, especially as we start moving along. And Florida Gulf Coast, if they can't get on the board soon, they're going to start getting desperate.
What a nice play that time to set up Blake Hartman, Gulf Coast did, but the shot was just deflected wide by Heilman, who's in goal for Michigan. Puck deflected back in the Michigan zone. The outlet at the center ice, and the pass is going to be too long, and we will indeed get icing. 3:51 to go in this opening period, 1-0 Michigan. Ryan, before we get to the next play, I got to tell you, we got corrected this morning after the first intermission by the Grand Valley State fans, and I also talked to their head coach after the win. He and I were out getting a sandwich at the same time. The 7-footer is not 7 foot. He's 6'3". Whoever put that in there got it wrong. So we got a good chuckle out of that. About a half a dozen parents came up to me and he said, "Are you Lou? Lou, that guy is not that tall. Stand next to him." So we're going to have to check for ourselves. Apparently he's about 6'3", but Ott is definitely 6'7".
Oh, well, he plays like a 7-footer then. I mean, coming up with that big goal at the end of the game for Grand Valley,
sure
sending them through towards the next round.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of funny. Our program's issued to us from the ACHA. Someone must have been pulling a prank on him. A pretty dangerous play here in the corner. Looks like, I think it's going to be a high stick, maybe.
Seth Cohen is down on all fours, and I think you might be right. I think we're going to get a penalty call coming up to Michigan. So here's Gulf Coast's chance to tie this up and put some pressure on Michigan again. The scenario we're looking at this afternoon, Michigan with a win or a tie, they advance to play Grand Valley tomorrow in semifinal number 1. Florida Gulf Coast needs a win, and they got to win by 3 goals, but they can't give up more than 4. If they do that, then Fordham would get the tie break. So, and then a goal differential after that. So there's still plenty of scenarios left, but they're going to send Aaron Moss back on the ice because of the penalty. But anyways, that's what we're looking at, Ryan. So Gulf Coast still plenty to play for, but a unique scenario where they're really going to have to put the heat on Michigan.
Yeah, Gulf Coast with a golden opportunity here as the Michigan penalty kill only operating at 75% so far on the weekend. So the Florida Gulf Coast firepower hopefully coming into place. Got to be able to keep that one in. It was the captain who fell over there, Diaz. And they'll have to reset.
As they do that, they bring it in over on the face-off circle. There's a play inside. It's loose at the doorstep. And Heilman will get down on all fours, and we get again some pushing and shoving. They're pairing off, 4-on-4. And Diaz is kind of walking off to make sure that, he doesn't get anything called on him. That's a smart move. As I'll tell you, there is a lot of tension. There's a lot at stake. 2:48 to go in the period. $1:33 in the power play as we've got a 1-0 lead for Michigan.
Yeah, Matrushka coming in there to kind of shake things up. The puck was close to being loose. I think it ended up being covered by Heilman. And if you're Matrushka, you can't really take much exception to that if you're going to be the one that's going in. And I think a good call here, getting a neutral zone face-off as Florida Gulf Coast, the instigators on that cover by Heilman.
Beautiful play on the face-off that time by Hasselbeck, as that'll eat up some time on the power play. Down to 2.5 left to go in this opening period. 1-0 our score. Gulf Coast will bring it up over the line, set up the power play, skating quickly towards the net inside behind the goal. Thought about a wraparound, but a good defensive play. Keeps it back out on top. With it up at the point is Veralt. Veralt plays it over on the near side. Now he gets it back out on top, plays it over far side. He's going to play a little give and go with Cohen. There's a one-timer. Pad save by Heilman as it's deflected over in the near side. Again, coming back up with the puck. Gulf Coast looking to set it up now on down. Cross ice pass deflected again. Boy, Heilman left a wide open net. If that would have got through, it could have been ugly for Michigan.
Yeah, Fitzgerald trying to sneak that back to the other side. He got right back to his stick and then had a chance there as Heilman was going to be moving from post to post. But no issue is now the puck 200 feet away from his own net.
30 seconds left to go here in this opening or this power play. $1:40 left in the opening period. Michigan on top, 1-0. They dump it down into the zone. Played around the boards that time by Mulholland. They look to set it up, and the puck is going to hop again over the stick. This time of Philbin, and again, just like you said, Ryan, 200 feet away. Florida Gulf Coast will have to set up down to 7 seconds left with the extra man. They played at center ice. Outlet pass going to be deflected again. So Michigan with a very solid penalty kill thwarting the power play.
Yeah, as we see Michigan hit on their power play, Florida Gulf Coast unable to take advantage of the extra skater. That'll come into play later.
Puck deflected down in the far zone. Under a minute to go in this opening period. 1-0 Aaron Moss with the go-ahead goal for the Wolverines as they look to clinch a spot in the semifinal. And Gulf Coast needs some help with the win. Puck played out to center ice. Going to be deflected down into the Michigan zone. Down to 43 seconds left. Drop pass over in the corner. They dig away at it over there on the left side. Now played out to center ice. Rezchik will play it down into the Gulf Coast zone. Down to 30 seconds left in the period. They throw it around the boards. Deflected over there. Gulf Coast comes up with it. They hold it in at the point. With it is Casey. Casey plays it over on the near side. One-timer! Deflected up over the top of the goal. Played over in the far corner by Gowell, plays it over again, throws it cross ice, hopped over the stick of Gare, down to 10 seconds, 11 seconds left, and a quick whistle. And the referee just says, calm down, I got it. 15-11, shots on goal with 11 and a half seconds left to go here in this opening period.
Yeah, I think if you're talking about in terms of one period, I mean, Michigan definitely wins this one, not only just because they got the goal scored, but because they've just completely dominated pace of play so far. It's been all Wolverines, and Florida Gulf Coast able to counter a little bit. They closed that gap on the shot chart, but not a lot of chances where Michigan, we've been oohing and on about their chances that they've created so far on offense.
And that's going to just about do it off the face-off. 20 minutes in the books in this one, in this game between the top two teams in Pool C. Michigan the difference. Aaron Moss at 6:05 on the power play, Ryan. Just a couple of thoughts here with a 1-0 lead of the opening period.
Yeah, just like I said, Michigan, so far so good. Really loving the play from Moss. For the Eagles, I mean, this team has been here multiple times in the past couple of years. They know what they need to do. They've so far they've kept it to just the goal deficit. That firepower will bounce back in the next period. We're going to be looking at that long change, how that's going to come into play as well.
All right, 20 minutes in the books. Our score, 1-0 Michigan. You are watching Day 3 of the ACHA Division III National Championships on the ACHA Broadcast Network.
It started with land and a grand plan to build a university, protect biodiversity, shape engineers and pioneers, explore frontiers and spark careers, and serve local regions through the work of collegians to chase dreams, cheer teams, teach, share, improve, and prepare to bring minds awake and give back more than we take. To build a school of wonders where communities connect, inspiring those who inspire others. That's the FGCU effect.
Come on! You know the answer. You studied for this. Come on. Timmy! Come on, Timmy. You got this, son. Pencil to paper. Focus. Come on, Timmy. Focus. Focus. Take the puck. There you go. Skate! Skate! Pass it! You call that a pass? What are you doing? You missed the puck! Come on!
And good afternoon. Welcome back after 20 minutes of play here on the ACHA Broadcast Network. Day 3 of pool play. This is the final day of pool play. We decide who goes to the Final Four tomorrow at in downtown Texas, or in Plano, or at Frisco, Texas, I should say. And after 20 minutes of play, Michigan, on the strength of a power play goal from Aaron Moss at 6:05, have taken a 1-0 lead over Florida Gulf Coast. With yours truly, Lou Gamlin, along with my tag team partner, Ryan Jones. Ryan, with kind of a fast-paced 20 minutes of play, and we've got, 2 periods left to go. If you're Florida Gulf Coast, we've talked about the tiebreakers. You need to, they're going to have to step it up, because with a win, they still have to beat Michigan by at least 3 goals without giving up 4.
Yeah,
as crazy as it sounds.
Yeah, tiebreakers are just a little bit wonky all game long, but looking forward to how this one plays out. I do think that Michigan is most likely. I think Michigan would win in regulation, but Florida Gulf Coast can put up a pretty good fight. So we will see. We've got 20 minutes left to go. Well, I should say 40 minutes left to go through this game as we get restarted here. Michigan will get the puck deep into the Gulf Coast zone.
All right. As we've had a couple of people come up to us, and we appreciate it. There's a question on who's in goal for Michigan. The Michigan fans say it's Flanagan. In our program, it says Heilman. If I get a chance, I'll run down and ask Jason Vartek in between periods, and we'll see, who indeed it is, or one of the assistant coaches. We appreciate the people that are inquiring about it. That means that they're watching and listening, which is fantastic. We truly do appreciate it, as the face-off will stay down in the Michigan end. But regardless, like you say, Ryan, this is a big, this is crunch time now for Gulf Coast. Michigan, of course, with a 1-0 lead. For Michigan, all they need to do is win or tie, and then it alleviates all the questions. Puck played out at center ice, going to be dumped down into the Florida Gulf Coast zone still. Michigan comes up with a loose puck with a centering play, deflected right out in front. Here comes Gulf Coast out to center ice. 2-on-2 the other way, Tremblay. Tremblay tries to make a play on it. We're going to get a penalty call coming up to Michigan. So another power play opportunity for Gulf Coast with a chance to tie this one up.
Yeah, another high sticking call. Eagles 0 for 1 on the first power play. They were able to kind of close that shot gap, like we said in the first period. So look for more of the same coming from that firepower from this Eagles offense as they send out power play unit 1.
So we're talking about tiebreakers, and I brought this question up to you on our way into the arena for the second period. The 8th tiebreaker is a coin flip. We got to figure out what happens if all 3 teams are trying to flip that coin.
I just say you send your 3 best players out and just have like a 3-way battle royale fight right in the middle of the circle.
Yeah, I think that is better than rock, paper, scissors. There's one right out in front. Oh, my goodness. Heilman with the save, and he's down on all fours to glove it off. 13-15, the shots on goal in favor of Michigan, but Florida Gulf Coast really closing that gap. It was 12-0 at one point with about, I think, 5.5 minutes into the opening period.
Yeah, that shot right there, you could hear it ring off the post. We're lucky that this is still a 1-goal lead for Michigan.
Face off deep in the Michigan zone. Again, Gulf Coast on the power play, but it hopped over the stick and played at the blue line, and it's going to be played back deep in the Michigan end. Or Gulf Coast end, rather. 1.5 minutes gone in the power play. Again, it was a slashing call on Nicholas Gowell as Gulf Coast looking to try to get something going on the power play as they still have it deep in their own end. Michigan with some token pressure, and we get a stoppage of play. Minute 17 in the power play. 18:23 to go, second period.
What did I miss? What was the stoppage for?
I thought I saw he went like this. It might have been a hand pass.
I think it's okay. That makes sense because Florida Gulf Coast wasn't allowed to change there either. So,
yeah, that's the only thing I could think of, and I thought that's what he said. There's one shot deflected before it got to the goal. Gulf Coast the other way. Boy, and paying for that one right now for Gulf Coast. was Matruska on that shot that he blocked in their own zone. Here comes Anton. Anton hauled down. A collision right over the blue line in the Gulf Coast end. Michigan now trying to play some shorthanded hockey as Gulf Coast comes up with a possession on the power play. Seth Cohen with a shot deflected wide of the goal. Played over the right side now in the near corner. They have it over on the far side. Played out on top with it. They play it now over the left side. Coming up with the puck is Cohen. Cohen on top now over to Veralt. Veralt tried to play one. Instead, it's over on the far side on the right. They skated around on top with it as Tremblay. Tremblay back over to Veralt. Veralt, there's one deflected. Heilman got it deflected up in the air. Coming down with it was Calso for Michigan, and they'll clear it back in the neutral zone. 17:25 to go in the second period. 17 seconds left in the power play for Gulf Coast as it's deflected into the Michigan zone. It's going to go in behind the goal, and Heilman will cover it up and preserve it. A 1-0 lead, 8 seconds left in the Gulf Coast power play.
Yeah, it looks like Michigan's going to go 2 for 2 on the penalty kill. So a nice job for them negating being a man down so far. And also Matruska for the other side, the Eagles, being able to eat that puck there and kind of limp off back towards the bench. You got to be willing to sacrifice the body on this final day of pool play if you want to advance.
Puck played over on the far side in behind the Michigan goal. Power play is over now. Coming up with it, Connolly tries to clear the zone for Michigan. They dig away at it over on the near side, chopping away at it. Finally, Michigan comes up with it. They play it out into the neutral zone. Coming up with the puck is Casey. He'll hand it off. Michigan brings it up over the line. It's going to be cut off, though, by Pupula. Played over in the near corner in the Gulf Coast end. Eagles try to clear the zone. Puck played out and held in. There's a shot kicked away by Birch. Gulf Coast will come up with it. Still fighting for it, though, far in their own zone. They clear it out to the blue line, and a little give and go as it's tipped out to center ice. A couple of big hits, one on each side now, as Michigan will come up with it. They got it in the neutral zone, coming up over the line. Casey down the right side, coming in on goal with a shot. Birch is able to kick it away, and it looked like he might have took one in the face mask, a stick or something, as he rolled around. Nice save. 16-14 to go, second period. 1-0 still, Michigan on top.
Yeah, nice save by Birch there. Kind of think that there might be some theatrics involved, trying to draw maybe a goaltender interference or anything. He appears to me to be fine, but he does turn his palms towards the sky, asking the referee why there wasn't something called. Nice play by Casey, cutting in on net, trying to make Birch move from his left post to the right, but a better save by Birch as he readjusts his equipment. We restart play.
17-14 now, shots on goal in favor of Michigan with a 1-0 lead for the Wolverines. Aaron Moss on the power play at 6:05 in that opening period as puck played over in the near corner. Puck in behind the goal. They're going to skate it over in the corner now. They chop away at it. Going after it was Hartman for Gulf Coast, trying to make a play on it. Big body, 6 foot, 175 pounds. Now Gulf Coast will come up with it in behind their own goal. Spencer Bell tries to make a play on it. Instead, it's deflected back in the Gulf Coast end. They dig away at it over in the near corner, held in at the point. There's a shot. Long rebound, right out in front. Rebound again. Birch kicks away about 4 shots, and they finally come up with a loose puck. Man, that was close. Birch really standing tall in that goal for Gulf Coast.
Yeah, just getting that left pillow extended and maybe 1, 2, 3, or 4 chances at it. Michigan just not able to elevate that puck in that situation. They say the definition of insanity is just doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. And Michigan right there just kept slamming it into Birch's pad. Got to get that puck elevated to beat him. But overall, a nice job by Birch on the scramble there. Keeping that puck out of the net.
Able to draw the icing call against Gulf Coast. Indeed, 3 shots on that flurry has given Michigan 20 so far through about 25 minutes of play here in this contest. They're up 1-0. Aaron Moss at 6:05, the difference, as the deflection, or the face-off rather, is played on the near side. Cross ice pass, nobody home. Skating after it for Michigan was Jake Stewart. They throw it in behind the goal. Going after it is Harvath for Gulf Coast. They're trying to make the play out of the zone. There's an outlet. They played out to center ice. Little give and go. Again, here comes Horvath up over the line. Met by 4 Wolverines in the slot area. Now it's going to be played back in the center ice area and deflected back in the Gulf Coast zone. Anton tips it down into the Gulf Coast end, but his pocket is picked, and Michigan will regroup with the puck. 14:39 to go, second period. 1-0 our score. They dig away at it in the neutral zone. Played up over the line. Coming up with the puck is Cohen. Cohen with a shot kicked away by Heilman over in the near corner. Centering play deflected. And here comes Michigan, but another poke check. But now we got 3-on-3. Good defensive play to elevate the puck to stop that rush momentarily for Michigan. Cohen comes up with it. Anton Cohen tries to play it towards Bush, but it's played over on the left side. Puck deflected now on the near side as they chop at it over there. As we're coming up to 6 minutes gone in the second period. Michigan clinging to a 1-0 lead. Puck played out at center ice. Coming up over the line with it is Black. Black, his throw towards the slot area. Deflected, here comes Michigan. 2-on-2 the other way. Stripling, he throws one towards the net. Ooh, a big collision. Everybody goes flying, including the net off its moorings. 13:49 to go, second period. Michigan 1, Florida Gulf Coast nothing.
Yeah, definition of going hard to the net right there. Going right through it. As the net pops up and off. Florida Gulf Coast not allowed to change here, as they said the defender there steering him in towards the net. Good pace towards this second period so far, though. Like what we're seeing from both teams, you can see the hunger and both teams wanting to move on towards that semifinal.
Well, again, the winner will take on Grand Valley in semifinal number 1 tomorrow, and that's going to be a dandy game there.
Yeah, that's going to be an absolute battle. We got to call Grand Valley last night with the OT winner. They're a really talented team, and I think as we get into this third day, we've started to see a little bit of the skill gap between each team. A lot of these teams are really, really good, but the top 4 that are going to advance, I feel like, could be anybody's game with just the talent level that we've seen on display. The talent level that we've seen on display all weekend at the D1, D2, and now D3 level as well.
Puck played in the neutral zone. Michigan will dump it back in the Florida Gulf Coast zone. Played in behind the goal. Gulf Coast will play it there. Now they deflected out to center ice. Chasing after it for Michigan is Terrell. He dumps it back down in the Grand Valley zone. Then it's again deflected back into Michigan side. Little dump and chase here with 13:10 to go in the second period. Again, 1-0 Michigan on top. Michigan with a win or a tie advances. Gulf Coast needs a win, and also they have to win by 3 goals, but give up no more than 4, or it really sends things into a frazzle here as the puck is played in the neutral zone area as it's played out at center ice now back in the Michigan zone with a shot. Heilman gloves it off, and he'll hang on as we've got 12:46 to go here in this second period. 1-0 Michigan. Shots 21-16 now in favor of Michigan.
Yeah, nice windmill save there by the Michigan netminder. And as we saw at the beginning of the first period, the shot gap increased by Michigan right off the bat. It was only, I think, 3 or 4 shots now for the Eagles in this period. So maybe a late barrage by them, but so far, Michigan with another good start to the period.
There's one thrown towards the net. That's deflected wide of the goal. Gulf Coast comes up with it. They're applying the pressure now, and it's out at the point. Deflected again over by the far side face-off circle. Michigan will chase after it. Calso down in the far side of the goal. He's bounced off the puck. Good play on defense by Gulf Coast, or offense in the defensive zone, or the other way around. Puck thrown down in the near corner. Gulf Coast will come up with it. Centering play deflected by one of the Michigan defenders. There's a turnaround shot. Rebound out in front. Loose, and now here comes Michigan with it out of the zone. Another chance, unfortunately, for Gulf Coast couldn't take advantage of. Michigan retreats with the puck. Played in front of the penalty box area. There's another big hit that time. Laying the lumber was Hartman, but he took the worst of it. Coming up with the puck is Casey, and we get a whistle and a stoppage of play. 11:47 to go here in this first period, or second period rather. 1-0 Michigan with temperatures, and the tempers starting to flare.
Yeah, we're going to get a double minor here on both teams. Just two guys kind of going after it, assuming they're both going to get roughing calls as they were skating through neutral ice, exchanging slashes, pushes, and words. We'll see. Let's see who they called it on. Going to be Horvath for the Eagles, and it's going to be Alex Truba for the Michigan men.
Kind of ironic with the background music, a WWE theme song from Randy Orton waiting for an RKO out of nowhere. Puck played down in the neutral zone. There's a shot in the Gulf Coast end, deflected by Birch. Pile up in the Grand Valley goal, as you mentioned, Ryan. Double minors, 4-on-4 hockey now, which will make for even more fun pace for us. Gulf Coast has it in their own zone, looking to clear it. They bring it out to center ice. With it is Tremblay. His pocket is picked. They backtrack it with it now. 11:20 to go in the second period. Puck played down outside the Michigan goal. They have it now as they retreat it and look to set up their next rush, as we're down to about 11:08 to go. 1:20 left in the 4-on-4. Up over the line, Hasselbeck. Hasselbeck over in the near side. Plays it out with a pass out to the blue line. But an even better play by Gulf Coast as they look to set things up. Touch play deflected, and it's going to be knocked around and brought back down into the Gulf Coast zone. And we're going to get an icing call on Michigan. 10:49 to go here in the second period. 1-0 Michigan on the ACHA Broadcast Network.
Yeah, nice back check there. I believe it was by Tremblay. I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure where to give the credit to, but good back check by the Eagles as a 4-on-3 starting to develop into that offensive zone for Michigan. And you know what they say, forecheck, back check, paycheck.
There you go. Puck dumped down in the Gulf Coast zone by Jacob Howard as they go after it now on the far side. Puck going to be played back out to center ice. Under 48 seconds left in the 4-on-4. 10.5 to go in the second period. Michigan clinging to a 1-0 lead. Puck played over on the far side. They're going to dig at it over in the corner. Michigan comes up with a loose puck. They play it over in the corner. Going after it is Colin Issel, I believe, from Michigan. Or check that, Aaron Moss. How could we get that number wrong? He's been flying around all day. He's got it over behind the goal and played in behind the Gulf Coast goal. Also chasing after it is Jake Stewart. Outlet pass. Here comes Gulf Coast. They've got 2-on-2 the other way. Tipped down into the near corner, just wide of Heilman. There's a push from behind. No call on that one. Well, I'll tell you, I think Gulf Coast might have got away with one there. Puck played in the center ice zone and back in the Michigan end.
Yeah, Gulf Coast got to be careful there, not only just on that back check the forecheck checking from behind, but also on that change. Had that puck hit one of their skaters, it's too many men. Can't be lazy when you're dealing with the period of the long change.
Here we go, under 9.5 to go. Both teams at full strength, 1-0 our score. Puck played down in the Grand Valley zone, in behind the Florida Gulf Coast zone, rather.
Looking forward to tomorrow's semifinal, I see, Lou.
Boy, I guess so, eh? The last game where I called with Justin DeVellis. Puck played in the Michigan end. Icing will be the call, so we will not get our media timeout yet. So the winner of this game plays Grand Valley tomorrow.
There you go.
And let's straighten that out. And we've got a couple of pools that are yet to be determined that we'll talk about a little bit later on with the two games coming up tonight. You and I get the Sioux game against South Florida to determine, I think that's Pool D, and then Kansas and Fairfield in Pool B for a winner-take-all game. Here's one lifted out into the Michigan zone. Michigan will go after it. They wheel it around to try to set it up. Kelso with an outlet over to Janot. Janot a cross-ice pass taken over there on the far side by Wilson. They played in behind the Gulf Coast zone and behind the goal with a shot. Oh, my goodness. You know, I'll tell you, Birch is getting the applause from his Gulf Coast fans, and, boy, he deserves it.
Yep.
Boy, what reflexes there.
Yeah, nice catcher by Birch there as Wilson denied on the doorstep. We'll take our media timeout and step away for a sec.
Don't go anywhere. You're listening to the ACHA Broadcast Network.
The 2019 ACHA National Championships are brought to you by Barron Championship Rings, proud sponsor and championship ring provider for the ACHA. Warrior Sports, the preferred stick supplier of the ACHA. The Dallas Stars. For tickets and more information, visit dallasstars.com. And Southwest Airlines, the official event airline partner of the 2019 ACHA National Championships.
Welcome back to the ACHA Broadcast Network. Yours truly, Lou Gamlin, along with my tag team partner, Ryan Jones. And Ryan, we've got 8:46 to go in this second period. Face-off will be down to the left of Jared Birch. And, boy, he's keeping Gulf Coast into this one.
Yeah, Birch, 22 saves so far. Really standing on his head for the Eagles as Michigan's been knocking on the door quite a bit. On the other side, our Michigan goalie Howman hasn't really been tested all that much in this second period. We'll see what both teams come up with after the media timeout.
There's a little flurry there by Michigan. Kicked away a couple of shots on Birch. So that gives them 25, Michigan does. Puck played over in the near side, just to the right of the goal. Chasing after it is Drew Casey. Plays it out into center ice, and it's deflected right at the blue line and played in the neutral zone. Michigan dumps it into the Florida Gulf Coast zone. Playing it over there that time was Gare. Gare has it over on the far side. It's going to be played out to center ice where they dig away at it there. Michigan will come up with the loose puck. They try to clear it out of their zone. They do. 2-on-2 the other way. Gare comes up the other line, coming up with Reschik. There's one right towards the goal, deflected wide, and that'll keep us with a face-off deep in the Gulf Coast end. And again, having words with the referee is Craig Fitzgerald.
Yeah, a little dipsy-do by Logan Gare there. Cutting into the net and flipped it up. Florida Gulf Coast needs to make the Wolverines pay for trying to cut in on their goaltender there. Shouldn't be that easy just to be able to cut in with just a simple toe drag.
When you've got the speed that Michigan does, you're absolutely right, Ryan. They don't need any help getting that extra possession right down by the goalie, because as you notice, sooner or later, it's going to get one past. Puck played in behind the goal with a shot. Rebound out in front. Another shot. Oh, and he scores! We just talked about it, Ryan. Michael Ficarro off the rebound, and a big goal for Michigan as they're now up 2-0. Time of the goal, 12 minutes and 21 seconds.
Yeah, Ficarro post in. Great shot after getting his own rebound, but seriously, just really right after we talk about it, nobody in the slot area to give Ficarro any fits, and nice job by Birch on the initial save. Can't control the rebound, but you can't have two shots right in front like that with nobody there to harass Ficarro. Pretty easy goal, a nice finish, and we got a 2-goal lead, and we're going to get a penalty right off the bat.
Yeah, that one's
just a pretty egregious hold. That's just what happens when you stop moving your feet. It's going to be stripling. So a chance here for the Eagles to gain momentum right back after a bad play off the draw for Stripling. No need to hold him right there. He has his defensive pairings behind him. Just a bad loss of the draw, and Eagles really, really, really could use a momentum-building goal right now.
Well, if you're thinking tiebreaker and you're Gulf Coast, in a sense right now, Ryan, you're down 5.
Yeah, you kind of get that.
They got to get the 3-goal advantage, so it's almost like it's 5-0 right now.
Yeah, kind of like in a soccer tournament. They're basically down aggregate, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, they're going to have to surmount a pretty large comeback right now, as I'm sure Fordham, after their game, have kind of stuck around. You can see a lot of the guys down on the glass there to see if Florida Gulf Coast can play spoiler, at least for maybe Fordham to open the door. But so far, all Michigan, and as they control their own destiny, this is what you love to see, to come out here, get a 2-goal lead, and possibly put yourself into that next semifinal spot.
Sam Terrell and Caleb Stripling get credit for the helpers on that goal by Michael Ficcaro at 12:21. So again, 2-0 Michigan now, 6:53 to go here in this second period. A big goal for Michigan. There's a give and go and a big save that time by Heilman. And we're going to get a whistle after that. The puck stopped with him covering it up.
Yeah,
the play stopped, I should say. Go ahead.
The Eagles there wanting a call. Matrushka kind of pulled down from behind. Surprised that we're not 5-on-3 here. I do think the Gulf Coast actually has a point there.
I do agree with the fans here with Gulf Coast and yourself, Ryan. That should have been a call to make it a 5-on-3. So,
yeah, that's a lucky break for Michigan, if you ask me. But refs deem it playable. So,
puck off the face-off, played by Michigan. Tie
another
up in
one.
front.
Yeah, see, there you go. I mean, that one's even harder to miss.
Yeah,
so.
no, that was a good call. You know, of course, Michigan's not going to agree with it, but you see Jason Bartek over there. He's like, all right.
Yeah.
You know, you got to live to fight your battles. You know,
Right.
and that definitely was a penalty, no doubt about it.
I know it's the wrong sport, but Kevin Garnett would say ball don't lie in that situation.
Yeah. Here we go. This is it for Gulf Coast. What an opportunity for them. A 5-on-3 for a minute. Trailing by 2 goals. They need something fast here. Puck played out on top. Played on the right side out on top with it. Played over on the left side. Now they have a 5-on-3. Quarterbacking the power play. Deflected up off the safety netting that time was Alfonso Diaz, and the Michigan faithful and their bench showing their approval, making some noise here with 6:25 to go here in the second period.
Yeah, nice job off the stick of Tim Wilson there, getting out in front, challenging that shot, getting a stoppage of play. Whenever you're down in 5-on-3, you need to start that triangle, that guy up top, typically your centerman, splitting the defenders there. Great job by Michigan.
Clean win on the face-off by Gulf Coast, shot wide of the goal. And Heilman's going to cover it with his leg pad. Again, to the approval of the Michigan contingent, as we've got 6:17 left, 36 seconds left on the 5-on-3. Then we'll have a minute 1 on the 5-on-4 for the Eagles. As, you know, it's just about go time for them. They've really got to put the full court press on, to borrow another basketball analogy, with a 5-on-3. Puck loose over in the far side. They're going to chop at it over there. Coming up with it is Howard. Briefly, but Gulf Coast will get it. Now it's going to be played by Michigan's Jonathan Calso, and he'll shoot at the length of the ice. Down to 20 seconds left of the 5-on-3.
Great start to the PK for the Wolverines, getting that puck deep.
Puck played in the Michigan zone now. They're going to skate it out on top. With it on top is Tremblay. Tremblay plays it over on the far side. Good play on defense, but it deflects out into the slot. Coming up with the scraps it was Cohen, and he had an opportunity there, but a wasted one for Gulf Coast. Back out on top with it, Cohen. Now we got a 5-on-4. Puck over on the right side. Gulf Coast trying to set it up. Michigan with the penalty kill. There's one deflected, and Heilman will cover that one up and keep the face-off deep in the Gulf Coast end, but now we're down to 46 seconds left in this 5-on-4.
Yeah, right before that extra Michigan skater gets released from the box, Cohen there with the cheeky pass through the slot. I actually dislike that decision. I think when you're in a 5-on-3, you got to get that shot through traffic on net. Don't try to be too cute with it when you really need a goal, some sort of rebound, especially when you have 2 extra skaters there. And then you end up opting from a shot from Matrushka from an odd angle from the goal line. Just kind of wish that those 2 things were reversed. Maybe Matrushka passes up into the slot and Cohen takes the shot from the top of the dot.
Puck over on the left side. They set up the power play again. With it up at the point is Lundqvist. He shoots it over to the right side. They're going to play it back out at the point. There's one taken wide of the goal, all the way over to Mulholland. Mulholland will try to make a play on it. They skate it over now on the far side. Going after it is Horvath. Horvath plays it on the far side, deflected. Brought down that time was Stewart. And that's going to do it for the 5-on-5. Michigan will make it 4-on-4 for 14 seconds. And then they'll get a chance with the extra man.
Yeah, tough play by Horvath, getting the tripping call, negating the opportunity there for Gulf Coast, as now 14 seconds for 4-on-4. and then Michigan going on the power play. And this stadium has started to fill out. I know there's some Fordham fans that are interested in this game, but when the two of the best teams here in the tournament, all eyes are on Michigan Wolverines and the Gulf Coast Eagles right now.
Boy, it's getting that feel that we had last night for that Grand Valley Farmingdale game, man. With the Grand Valley crowd doing the wave and the roller coaster. Now we get another one right out in front. Puck deflected away. We're going to get another penalty call on Gulf Coast and a stoppage of play. As I got obstructed from that, Ryan, but it's going to be, looks like a 5-on-3 now for Michigan.
Yeah, I had perfect eyes on it. It's going to be David Cross going away for high sticking, and that was just a mental lapse by Cross, a moment of frustration. It was, I was almost going to say Jacob Trouba, but no, it's Alex Trouba for the Michigan men. A hit on Cross there, and Trouba did have his stick up a little bit high. That did not get seen, and it's often the retaliation as Cross then gives him a nice little poke check to the neck area.
Oh, boy.
And Trouba able to draw. Now we have complete role reversal, 5-on-3 for Michigan, looking to pad the lead.
Michigan has it up on the point, 5-on-3 for 1:40 here in this second period. One-timer with a shot deflected wide of the goal. Rebound right out in front. They've got it now. There's one sent right to the doorstep. And it's going to be deflected away, and puck will be held in now by Michigan at the point. There's another blast, and he scores! Alex Trouba with the 5-on-3, and that's going to put Michigan up 3-0. Time of the goal, 15:44.
Yeah, so there you go. Just said his name. Trouba draws the frustration penalty and immediately capitalizes. I'm going to have to go ahead and give that Selly maybe a 6 out of 10. I like the idea of it, but you got to stay on your feet there, Trouba, if you really want to send that one home. Either way, 3-0 Wolverines in complete control. And if you're Gulf Coast, need to calm down and relax at least a little bit here, as the frustration penalty really comes back to bite you. Only took 21 seconds into the 5-on-3 for Trouba to take advantage for Michigan.
Well, if all you need is 6 out of 10, Ryan, the coaching staff for Michigan was laughing at him when he came to the bench. Trouba with the 5-on-3 power play goal, really putting the distance between them and Gulf Coast now as we're down under 4 minutes to go. Puck played at the point with a shot deflected over in the corner. Moss goes after it, drops it off over in the near side, and it's going to be deflected all the way down into the Michigan zone where they'll regroup. 3:45 to go in the period, 1:05 left in the penalty to Gulf Coast. So Michigan trying to add maybe one more on the power play, as they've got 2 power play goals here in this contest tonight. 2-on-2 the other way. Good deflection by Gulf Coast, and they throw it the length of the ice, deflected by the Michigan player. And we're going to get it played by a high stick. So that'll keep the face-off down in the Michigan zone. 3:22 to go here in the second period. Ficarro at 12:21. Trouba at 15:44, putting some space between Michigan and the Eagles of Florida Gulf Coast.
Yeah, you could just see the FGCU fans here just sitting on their hands. Unfortunately, not a lot to cheer about throughout this second period.
Michigan now comes out of the zone. They played in the neutral zone area. With it is Connor Black. His pocket is picked as Gulf Coast now will retreat after the puck, playing it shorthanded with 30 seconds left in their penalty. 3:07 to go here in this second period. 3-0 our score. Puck played over on the far side. Collision over there. We're going to get a penalty call coming up to Trouba, and that'll negate the penalty. And now we're going to get a 4-on-4 and then a Gulf Coast power play.
Yeah, it's Cody Tremblay right there with the harassment on Trouba, just on that forecheck, giving him fits, and Trouba, bad interference call. So both teams kind of some mental lapses to negate each other's chances. Now Gulf Coast, 20 seconds of 4-on-4, and then they will get 1:40 on the power play. Just 2:58 left in this second period. And Gulf Coast needs something, anything to build off of before they go back into the second intermission here.
3-0 our score. Michigan on top. We got 4-on-4 hockey. Michigan wins the draw. Bringing it up over the line for the Wolverines is Hasselbeck. Plays it in behind the Gulf Coast goal. Gulf Coast will come up with a power play in about 2 seconds. 2:40 to go here in the second period. 3-0 our score. Michigan on top. They played out the center ice, and it's going to be dropped down in the Michigan zone. They dig away at it over in the corner. Hasselbeck will go after it along with Kevin Philbin. Michigan able to clear it out the center ice and throw it down into the Gulf Coast zone. 1:20 left in the power play. 2:15 now left in the second period. Michigan on top, 3-0, looking to clinch a spot and a date with Grand Valley tomorrow afternoon in the opening round of the semis. Here it comes up over the line with the puck. Philbin, there's a play that whistles wide of the goal. Held in at the point, taken over there by Cohen. They played over on the far side. Wyatt Engelman plays it for Gulf Coast. There's a turnaround shot rather, centering play, and it's kicked away. They played over on the near corner again. Gulf Coast has it out on top. They're going to play it over on the right side. Backtracking with it is Cohen. Cohen plays it in between the rings. Give and go at center ice with a shot, or at the slot area rather. And there's a mad scramble in front of the goal. And they're going to fight for it. Michigan comes up with possession. Oh, and a 2-on-1 collision over there. Oh, and a big hit over in the corner. Taking exception to that one is going to be Philbin. And we might get a penalty call coming up on him. I'm not going to guess, but it looked like a retaliatory call when the referee's arm went up.
Yeah, it definitely is. So first off there, just a good play by Florida Gulf Coast, starting to get a little bit of momentum. Shot just too many feet in front of the net there for that puck to get all the way through. And then a big hit there. It's going to be number 24. That's Kevin Philbin. Just with the wrestling move there, he kind of put his arm around the neck area of the Michigan player and rolls over, maybe called for a holding.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, this is the theme to these power plays right now, is about 20 seconds left in your advantage. Your team goes off into the bench. So Gulf Coast, unless there's a goal within after this 21 seconds by Michigan, Gulf Coast going to start the third period a man short. And look for some instant offense by Michigan to end this second period of play. Waiting to get that on the scoreboard.
There it goes. It looked like Kelso laid the lumber on Philbin over in the corner, and then Philbin, of course, took exception to it and got him in a headlock and was holding, and they called the penalty.
Yeah, and it was a legal hit initially, and so just once again, just that frustration starting to rise as this league continues to grow for Michigan, and Florida Gulf Coast frustrations on display right now.
Plays right out in front, deflected before they got to the goal. Over on the far side, Michigan on the extra man now. Moss over on the right side. He's got a goal tonight. He's got the opening goal of this contest. Michigan sets it over on the far side. They throw it in behind the goal. Little tic-tac give and go, but deflected out into the center ice area with 38 seconds left to go. Here in this second period, Michigan on top, 3-0. They skated over on the left side, drop pass over in the far corner. Michigan comes up with it in behind the goal, played over on the right side, held in on top, pass deflected, and going after, good deflection by Connor Black. There's a puck loose. Heilman will come out and play it and throw it over on the corner, and then going in hard on the boards that time was Lundqvist. 12 seconds left the other way with a shot. Excuse me. And we're going to get looks like a trip.
Yep. It's going to be Moss drawing the penalty. And now, again, 5-on-3. Just 10.3 left to go here in the second period. And, I mean, that's less of a mental lapse or a frustration call there. Just Moss going hard to the net and the Florida defenseman getting beat there. Just a pretty ugly period as far as special teams play is concerned. I guess as in both teams drawing a lot of penalties here to close it out as it's just flipped down to Heilman.
Very, very uncharacteristic of these two teams, but the stakes are high, the intensity is high, and you're going to get that sometimes. So 40 minutes in the books, 2 second period goals. Michael Ficcaro at 12:21. Alex Trouba at 15:44 on the power play. 3-0, Ryan, real quick. Your analysis after 40 minutes.
I mean, Michigan, just a great 20 from the Wolverines overall. They dominated time of possession there. They capitalized on some Florida Gulf Coast mistakes, including the power play goal by Truba. And if you're Florida Gulf Coast, you got to get out of your own way sometimes. You know, there's no way that you're going to be able to come back when you're sitting in your own box, man down. So 5-on-3 to start the period for the Wolverines. Gulf Coast has an uphill battle as they're down 3-0 on the scoreboard, but really if they want to advance, like we've said, they're down 6.
Yes.
So I think we're just going to, if my prediction for this third period comes true, I think we're just going to see Michigan take this pool outright and have a date with Grand Valley State tomorrow. So we'll see what happens in the next 20.
All right, well, we're going to take a break, step aside after 2 periods of play. Michigan on top of Florida Gulf Coast, 3-0 here on the ACHA Broadcast Network.
Is the University of Michigan.
Founded as a place of universal learning.
We wanted to study the world's problems.
And make a difference.
We said we were leaders, so we led.
Together, we could accomplish great feats.
Beyond what any one person could do.
We are Michigan.
And after 200 years,
We can never forget why we lead.
to advance knowledge,
To serve the public. To do good. That is our way forward.
guy's not ready. You're not ready. Let's go!
Hockey heads are special, which is why we protect them. With a helmet designed, built, and tested to endure real-world hockey impacts.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back as the third period of play is about a minute to go here before we start here on the ACHA Broadcast Network. Yours truly, Lou Gamlin, along with my tag team partner, Ryan Jones. And Ryan, 3-0 Michigan on top. And, you know, in the grand scheme of things, they've got the tiebreaker edge, if you will, as Gulf Coast would have to get 6 goals to win the tiebreaker in this third period. But they start out down 5-on-3 for 42 seconds.
Yeah, never a great thing when you start off without 2 of your guys on the ice. As far as the Wolverines go, I thought that they started out the first period pretty well. Got that early goal under them. Florida Gulf Coast, after the media timeout in the first period, kind of kept pace. Still nothing to show for their efforts, but then the second period came around, and Florida Gulf Coast just not really able to stay out of their own way. A lot of penalty minutes for both sides, quite frankly, but the Eagles cannot get back in this game if they're going to be playing 5-on-3. It's going to be an uphill battle for them going forward. So I looked forward to seeing how this final 20 plays out, but Michigan in the driver's seat right now as we restart play.
They, with the win, Michigan will go on to take on Grand Valley tomorrow in the opening game of semifinals. Or if Florida Gulf Coast can pull a miraculous comeback, they would be able to do it as well. And then we've got the other semifinal yet to be decided. There's 2 games coming up in the last session of games, if you will, to determine who will be the other semifinal as South Florida takes on Sioux College in the next game that you and I are doing. And then in the nightcap, it's going to be Kansas taking on Fairfield, which it'll be Todd Corder in the play-by-play along with Jared Nyland. So that's going to be a dandy game over there.
Yeah, some great games for the nightcap as Sioux College here vested interest in this game beforehand. They're down here in the tunnel right beside me, starting to kind of warm up, but also keeping their eyes on possibly scouting their future opponent if they take care of business and move on to tomorrow's games, which will most likely be held at the Comerica Center in downtown Frisco.
Face-off will stay down in the Grand Gulf Coast end. 5-on-3 now for another 10 seconds. There's a shot whistled wide of the goal. They played over on the far side. They chop away at it. Michigan trying to gain possession. They do. With it on top with the puck is Gowell. Good play by Gulf Coast to thwart the 5-on-3 as now we're down to 5-on-4 for about another minute 10. Skating around with it at the top, Drew Casey over on the far side with a shot deflected in traffic. Going after it is Rezchik and they score off the rebound. A power play goal here in this third period. Time of the goal, 57 seconds. And that could just about put a bow on it for Michigan as Drew Casey gets the power play goal.
Yeah, really early on in that penalty kill. Drew Casey, Wolverines work high to low. Pretty good chance there and just an easy bury from the slot as we're now back to 5-on-5 hockey. But I think that's probably going to do it. So I think now as we go forward, you got 19 minutes of play. You have a frustrated Florida Gulf Coast team, right? They came in here as the number 1 seed in this pool, trying to seek revenge for being knocked out the past couple of years. I think if you're Michigan right now, you really need to be mentally tough. Make sure that you're not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize a player playing in tomorrow's game by getting kicked out or something today. And also keep your heads up as this game will most likely get pretty physical here. Definitely don't want anybody getting hurt for tomorrow's game either. So Michigan needs to be really wise with how they attack the rest of this game.
I think, that's a great point. There's a shot. And before we get any further, we got to the bottom of our mystery on who the goaltender is for Michigan, and I got it straight from the horse's mouth. I talked to Ben Heilman, and I'll tell you, either they switched goalies or he got out of his gear as fast as I've ever seen anybody get out of hockey gear. It is indeed Justin Flanagan. They had there's a mix-up on our program that we have. We've got all 3 guys listed. So I'm going to, cover our behinds here because we didn't know any better. We had a couple of parents come up, which, it's great. We don't have a problem with it, but we got it from Ben. He said, no, that's Justin. So it's Justin's second start. Rebound! Wide of the goal on the Gulf Coast end. Down under 18 to go in regulation time. So it is Flanagan playing in goal for Michigan. Puck held in at the point. They chop at it right in front of us. They dig away at it. And some pushing and shoving. We're going to get a penalty call, I believe, coming up on Michigan.
I think it's going to be Florida Gulf
Coast. Okay, I beg
your
pardon.
Yeah, it's turned into a wrestling match here as Max Mulholland being escorted. Okay, so I was correct. Max Mulholland's going to sit 2 for a roughing. It was basically a wrestling play there. And going back to the goaltender talk, let's give Justin Flanagan the credit that he deserves, still without giving up a goal in this tournament so far.
That's right.
4-0 your score. 5-0 they opened up. So overall, great job by Flanagan, no matter what number he might be sporting. And once again, Michigan on the attack.
Ooh, there was a nifty play, unfortunately, for Michigan. Moss couldn't connect on that power play. Now, we're going to have some decisions to make for the All-Turk in his case, if it sticks like it is.
Yeah, Spanenberg for Fordham is to know that Fordham's watching closely here. Turned in, a 65 save performance against this Michigan team yesterday. Even though it was a losing effort, was able to keep this Florida Gulf Coast team from besting him as well. So some great play so far from the 2 netminders in this group, this Pool C group, but it looks like that Flanagan is going to be the one to advance his team into the semis.
Puck played down in the Florida Gulf Coast, and they dig away at it over there. 4-0 back up. Gowell has it over on the left side. They dig away at it, and it's going to trickle out to center ice. Down to 16-15 to go here in regulation time. Michigan with a 4-0 lead. They played over on the left side and behind the goal. They're going to set it up now back out on the far side. With the puck over there is Gare, and it's going to again deflected down into the Michigan end with 16 minutes to go.
Yeah, Birch had his stick knocked out of his hands there and opted for one of the defender sticks, so it's kind of a 4-on-3 look. So a great job by Florida Gulf Coast getting the clear so they can reset with all the proper equipment.
Puck will be played deep in the Michigan end now, as it's going to be going to call icing, I believe, on Michigan. So the face-off is going to be down in the Michigan side with the icing call. And, of course, Michigan, they're not going to agree with it, but, they're 15:42 to go here in regulation time, and they're going to bring the face-off out to center ice. So, I guess
maybe the complaining, it worked.
I asked you that yesterday, and you said, no,
typically doesn't.
No, but, I remember talking to Rasty McGibbon in one of the D2 games, and he said, no, initially it doesn't work, but after a while they keep it in the back of their head. But, that's the old coach and him talking, who, he's telling me before, it doesn't hurt to bait the refs once in a while, just, to maybe get a call or two your way. Puck played out at the point, held in at the blue line by Pupula for Gulf Coast, as both teams now at full strength. 15:20 to go, regulation time. 4-0 our score. Puck over on the right side, rather. The skate over cross ice. Pupula has it. Puck loose over by the doorstep on the right-hand side. Coming up with it is Hartman. Hartman skates it out to center ice. Going to be played there by Hasselbeck, and now deflected back in the neutral zone. Skating it is Veralt. Throws it down in the corner. It's going to roll all around the boards. Gulf Coast will get some fresh legs on the fly. 4-0 our score. Shots on goal, 32-21 in favor of the Wolverines. Really the story of this game. 3 power play goals by Michigan, 1 in each period, has set them apart from Gulf Coast now, as the puck is played out to center ice, and you're going to be played in the neutral zone into the Michigan end. Ryan, this is kind of similar now to the game in the last game on this ice with Grand Valley. They were up comfortably. One thing I noticed at about this point, they just, they laid off the physicality. They just played, dump and chase and skate back and forth. Do you see Michigan maybe doing something like that?
I mean, I think that you want to stay aggressive. I don't hate the fact that you would maybe lay off a little bit. You don't want to get too conservative and, allow Florida Gulf Coast to storm back in this, because you certainly still can't lose the game and let Fordham into it out of nowhere, even though it looks like Gulf Coast chances are out. But like I said, the biggest thing is, one, you don't want to get a suspension, and you don't want to get an injury either. So I would not be surprised to see him take a little bit off the gas, but you don't want to fall asleep here either and, work yourself into some poor situations or even some poor habits by not coming out tomorrow. But definitely got to keep your head up out there as Florida Gulf Coast looking to make some noise before their season winds up here in Plano, Texas.
13:15 to go. Regulation time. Michigan on top, 4-0. Goals in the goal in the opening period by Aaron Moss, and then Michael Ficcaro and Alex Truba in the second, and then Drew Casey 57 seconds in on the power play in the third period has kind of broken this game open for the Wolverines, up 4-0.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, just sorry for the interruption, but just the fact that you're naming off 4 different Michigan skaters that have recorded points and goals, so you're getting a lot of contributors from this Michigan lineup, and you love to see that from a championship caliber team, is that late in the season you're not really getting scoring from just one top line. You're getting scoring sprinkled in throughout your entire lineup. You need everybody to be clicking at this point in the year if you're going to win these next 2 games. Well, yes, today, but then also the next 2 games to become national champions.
That's right. We'll get 2 semifinals tomorrow, and it's shaping up for this one to be an all-MCHC Michigan Collegiate Hockey Conference battle between Michigan and Grand Valley. Michigan out of the East Division, Grand Valley out of the West. The next game is the Sioux against South Florida, out of the South, or out of the North, and South Florida, of course, out of the South. And the scenario there is pretty easy. Both teams are 2-0. A win by South Florida, and they're in, or a tie. A win by the Sioux, and they're in. And as we talked, Ryan, at the beginning, you've seen this Sioux team play. They've scored 21 goals in 2 games, yet they can't win with the benefit of a tie. Just seems kind of ironic.
Yeah, if you're looking for some good hockey games, I'm sure if you're a Florida Gulf Coast fan, we don't blame you if you're kind of over the hockey. But if you are a Michigan fan, stick around to scout the Sioux team coming out of Ontario. They have some guys who can fly. They're led by Ryan Vrenderman. This kid had 97 points, Lou. 97 points. Almost got to triple digits during the year. The Cougars just fly around the rink, and USF is going to have their hands full slowing down that Sioux lineup. But we mentioned it earlier in the game, too. A little bit of shaky goaltending for Sioux College, so it should shape up to be a good one, but definitely a favorite to make it into the games tomorrow at Comerica Center, and a favorite to be playing on Saturday for the championship as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, don't tell that to South Florida just yet, because I'll give them credit. They're a spunky crew, and they've been to the big dance before. Good goaltending as we get an offsides call on Michigan. Watch for their goaltending. I think that could be a key in that game. But South Florida, they're the kings of the social media on Twitter. They're a blast to watch throughout the year. They get some good friendly battles with Georgia and Georgia Tech and some of the other Florida teams. My favorite one last year was when they went to the regionals and they won. And I believe it was, I can't remember what team it was. It might have been a Florida team that they beat. And they showed a picture on social media of a dumpster on fire going down the road. That was classic. But they're a fun school to talk to. Their coaching staff is, they're very accommodating. So it's going to be a good game. You know what? I really think it's going to be interesting with the pace of that game. And then the other one, as we get Michigan up over the line, coming in on goal with a shot that whistled wide. You've got Kansas, as we talked about. We've seen Fairfield. They've got a very defensive style. And Kansas, it's going to come down to the old adage, which is going to win, a better defense and goaltending or a high-powered offense?
Yeah, the Stags will have their handful with the Kansas Jayhawks. I have not been able to call a Jayhawks game so far during this D3 tournament. I have seen the Stags. They are a pretty stout defensively minded team. Some good goaltending from the Stags, so that should shape up to be a good matchup. That'll be happening at 7:30, and mind you, you can catch all this on the ACHA network here on YouTube, brought to you free, and then also check out the recap show for the final standings from pool play on ACHA tonight. That'll be hosted by Matt Coma. Yourself, Lou, will be on the show. That starts around 11:30 Central Time. Be sure to catch that, and you'll also find out what times both teams will be playing tomorrow for the semifinal matchup. We'll give you a preview of that as well. That's on ACHA tonight at 11:30. Is diving in there was number 12, Reescheck. And after all that recap, we will get a break here from Plano, Texas at the Children's Health Star Center. 4-0 your score for Michigan. Stick around here on the ACHA network.
The 2019 ACHA National Championships are brought to you by Budget Car Rental, the preferred rental agency of the ACHA. Hogan Transportation, official tournament partners of the 2019 ACHA National Championships. Edge Protect, protecting goalie skate blades since 2004 and official sponsor of the 2019 ACHA National Championships.
Welcome back to the ACHA Broadcast Network. 9:55 to go regulation time. Michigan on top 4-0 over the Eagles of Florida Gulf Coast. The only goal of the period scored on the power play, the third power play of the afternoon for the Wolverines. Drew Casey at 57 seconds and 33-24 the shots on goal advantage. Real quick, as we were talking before the break about the upcoming scenarios and games, in that Fairfield, Kansas game, the goals allowed stat, the edge goes to Fairfield, so Kansas has to win that one outright. A tie will give the extra slot to Fairfield. Puck played around the board is going to be held in at the blue line, held in right there by Terrell. He's going to dig away at it along with Lundqvist as they play it over on the far side. Michigan will come up with it. They'll throw it around the boards. Played in off the corner now. Played in behind the Gulf Coast zone. Held in at the point by Michigan. They played in the slot area. Now Gulf Coast will come up with it. They played up over the line. Played down in the far corner. And it's going to be chased after by Terrell. Also chasing after it with a wraparound try. That time was Horvath. It's loose right out in front in the slot area. And Michigan will just lob it down into the Gulf Coast zone. 9:05 to go here in this third period. 34-24 shots on goal in favor of Michigan as they played in behind their own goal. They'll set it out to center ice. Played out of the zone, out into the neutral zone. Now it's going to roll down in the Gulf Coast end, and the icing will be waved off. Good hustle that time by Alex Kai. So they're still giving it their all, is Michigan, but playing, like you say, a little bit. You could tell maybe the edge is off just a hair.
Yeah, like we said, we wouldn't be very surprised if they weren't getting as physical, not necessarily risking an injury or, like I said, a suspension. The worst thing would be if you get an egregious boarding call or something like that by just an unnecessarily made play at this point. But the shooting gallery continues, and a goal here.
Oh, no. There's one. Boy, when it rains, it pours.
Sure does.
For Gulf Coast. Michigan will make it 5-0. It looks like it's going to be Paul Bradley getting the goal. It went right through the wickets, if you will, 5-hole. And right now that makes our score 5-0 in favor of the Wolverines.
Yeah, it was kind of tough to see. It was a shot right in front of our broadcasting booth here. So couldn't see the puck trickling behind the netminder, Birch. And just able to clean up there is the Wolverine man. 5-0. Just overall a complete tournament start for Michigan, dominating the pool. They're going to go 3-0. And really, The only test that they really faced, it felt like, was that Fordham game with Spanenberg saving 60 shots. Today it's been all Michigan so far. So we'll look to see what happens when they move on tomorrow against Grand Valley. If a little bit of a tougher opponent and a bigger, higher stakes game, how they're able to adjust their speed and pace of play, and how well the Wolverines will play tomorrow, looking for a berth or a national championship berth.
I'll have to look it up as far as who they. I know they've met in the regular season. I'm trying to think if they played. They have a conference tournament they play in the end of the year. They play for the Vezina Cup, which is not to be confused with the top goaltender award, the Vezina Trophy. And if I'm not mistaken, Michigan made it to the championship game in that and they eventually lost to Hope, who got knocked out in the regionals by Oakland. But I believe they beat Grand Valley. We'll have to wait. I'll do some digging on that tonight, maybe for the show tonight and then for the broadcast tomorrow. But the puck deflected down into the Michigan zone. 7:40 to go here in this third period. Again, 5-0 Michigan on top. 37-24 shots on goal. Paul Bradley getting his first goal of the tournament at 11:22 to really put a bow on this one, as he is Michigan looking again. Can now, the fans anyways, and us as broadcasters can look ahead really to the matchup with Grand Valley tomorrow afternoon as the puck is deflected out to center ice. Gulf Coast with a shot, deflected high in the air. Rebound right out in front. Boy, a big break again. The horseshoe is the horseshoe's in the back pocket now. Flanagan, as the puck is over in the far corner, as we're getting under 7 to go in this third period. 5-0 Michigan on top. Puck deflected out to center ice. So yeah, you can, after this game's over, you can go take a deep breath, go grab a sandwich, get some fresh air, and then tune in for some great games here tonight in the Division III round of the ACHA. As Michigan is advancing, one half of the semifinals are set. It'll be Michigan against Grand Valley. There's one shot deflected up onto the blue line, held in. Going to be played around the boards, held in behind the goal, played over on the far side. And we get a stoppage of play. I think we're going to get a penalty call coming up on Michigan.
Yeah, looks like it. It's going to be a slashing call. And Lou, a quick Google search from my phone, as far as I can see, Michigan did best Grand Valley at least once this season, 6-1. So okay, that Michigan firepower on display. But that's just a regular season game. That's not for a chance at the national championship. Yeah. I expect that game will be a lot closer tomorrow with the stakes being raised. But as far as I can tell, I'm sure the YouTube chat will correct me if I'm wrong, of course.
Oh, I'm sure they're right on that. You know, it's funny is, you know, Michigan with the auto berth, the second berth, they're gonna out of the North. They'll advance to the semifinals. So now this will guarantee that a North team will be in the finals again. Will be in the finals again in the ACHA Division III, as the North region will bid for their 10th national championship in 11 years. The only school to get in the middle of all that was College of the Canyons, I believe, and that was about 8 or 9 years ago. Saginaw Valley won a couple in a row, Adrian College, and then it's been kind of shuffled around between Michigan State, Oakland, Aquinas, and then last year, of course, Hope with the win. So puck played in the far end, and as Michigan looks to clear the zone, they do out at center ice and going to be played back in the Gulf Coast zone. Puck played in behind the goal. They're going to dig it around, and it's going to be played the length of the ice. One of our constituents here, one of our VPs helping out this year at the national tournament, Pete Gibb, was the head coach of the Oakland team that won it all in 2000 or went to the finals, I should say, last year in 2018. Puck played out at center ice, deflected into the neutral zone. They're going to be playing it around the boards. still held into Michigan end. 50 seconds left in the power play. 5 minutes left now here in this third period. Coming in on goal with a shot, and he scores! On the power play, that's going to be Eric Anton. And if there was any doubt, it's definitely gone now. 6-0 Michigan. Time of the goal, 15:03. That is the fourth power play goal.
The short-handed goal by Anton.
I'm sorry, short-handed.
Yeah, short-handed, and an absolute missile off of the breakaway for Anton. As Florida Gulf Coast's head coach wanting a looks like he's just talking to the ref, wants an explanation there, and it's Coach Tom Philbin. But an absolute rocket from Anton, and shame for Florida Gulf Coast season to end in this kind of fashion. We'll say congratulations to the Eagles for making it to the national tournament. I mean, that should always be, goes without saying how difficult it is to qualify for postseason play.
Oh, it is.
And Florida Gulf Coast, their Division II team, winning the national championship this year. So there's some good hockey there down in southern Florida, as we've seen a lot of Florida teams here, and this Florida Gulf Coast team, during the first time we called the game, you said it best, is typically we don't see them wearing their road jerseys. They're always coming in here as a number one seed, so they're always wearing the white jerseys here at Nationals. Like I said, unfortunately that they have to go home in this fashion, but a fantastic season nonetheless for the not for the Golden Eagles, but just the Florida Gulf Coast Eagles.
We're going to get a penalty call after the goal on David Cross for Gulf Coast, so that'll make it a 4-on-4, I believe.
No, a 5-on-3.
Or 5-on-3. Oh, you're right.
Yeah,
I'm all
you're all frazzled with the PK goal.
5-on-3 for about another 15 seconds. Oh, wait a minute.
No, it's a 5-on-4.
5-on-4. They got to get the penalty up on the board. I'm all well, I saw him go in the box. Maybe, I don't know. Cross is in the box. 12 is out on the... maybe he got a game misconduct or something. I'm not sure. Anyways, he's in the penalty box. I know he had some words over there sitting on the rail. So maybe... here comes a breakaway anyways for Michigan. Kai on the drive, and it's up over the top of the good save by Birch as we're down under 4 minutes to go. 40 shots on goal for Michigan now as they go up 6-0. And it's going to be played out to center ice and played now back into the Florida Gulf Coast zone as Kai looks to make a play on it down in the near corner. And you touched on it, how big of a accomplishment it is to get here for Gulf Coast. That Florida region, that South region, is so Florida dominant right now, and the play of the hockey play down there is truly amazing.
Yeah, I was thankful enough to be able to be on a team with a roster talented enough to make 2 ACHA Nationals teams. I unfortunately never advanced out of pool play. I know the heartbreak it is to go home on the third day. Typically teams, they don't schedule their travel day expecting to go home on their third day, so I'm sure Florida Gulf Coast will be hanging around the Dallas area, getting a chance to celebrate their season with the boys for 2 more days. That was always something that was pretty fun for us when I played at the University of Utah. But overall, I mean, you just know that you got a special group of guys in that FGCU locker room to send off the seniors. I'm sure it's going to be heartbreaking for a lot of these guys playing their last bit of competitive hockey, but the ACHA providing student athletes with the chance to play the sport that they love, otherwise maybe not being able to play at this high of a level in college. So it's a great thing, and I cherish the times that I've had with playing in the ACHA and now being able to be on the broadcast side. It's just been absolutely phenomenal, and I know that I'm sure a lot of the Eagle guys on the bench right now feel the same about the guys that they have in their locker room. And just overall, congratulations to the Eagles team, and congratulations to this Michigan Wolverines team for extending their playoff play.
I've had a chance. I met Jared Birch. I talked to him after a game a couple of years ago, and that when they made it to the Final Four. And what a very, very polite young man, you know, a very smart individual, and, you know, he's going to be a senior this year. He's had All-American accolades, and, you know, he's had a great career. The only thing that would be missing would be a national championship ring, but, you know, you can't take anything away from him. And the rest of this Gulf Coast team, you know, they're again, very high class, play the game with respect, and, you know, they got nothing to hang their heads about. It's just, you know, it's tough when you get down to the Final Four in any sport, and, you know, you hate, like you said, you hate to see a team go home.
Yeah, and we touched on the men's D2 team winning the national championship. The amount of Gulf Coast fans that were able to travel here. So between both programs, the amount of hockey culture that they're growing there down in Florida, like you said, it's kind of spreading to multiple teams, and you just love to see it, the game of hockey grow in rather untraditional markets where you just don't think that it would be that popular. So just awesome to see.
Well, we're going to wrap things up here. About 30 seconds left. Just some dump and chase. Both teams know that, you know, it's all over, but the shouting, they're just going to do it. They're just going to dig the puck out of the zone. Coming up over the line, Florida Gulf Coast trying to maybe get one past Flanagan, as he'll have 2 shutouts and improve his case for the all-tournament team that we will vote on here in the next day or so. Puck held in at the blue line. It now deflects over into the center ice area, and Michigan will come on and win 6-0 over Florida Gulf Coast. That'll do it. Third period goals. Drew Casey at 57 seconds on the power play. Paul Bradley at 11:22, and Eric Anton at 15:03. So congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines as they advance to the national semifinal, as they will take on Grand Valley tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, as you see this Gulf Coast team coming together for one last time around the net of Birch. You know, like you said, an all-pro or an all-collegiate player. Can't say enough good things about Florida Gulf Coast. And for Michigan, they will be moving on. Look at Gulf Coast fans giving a standing ovation to their boys. And elation if you are a Michigan man or woman today. The fans for the guys in blue and maize moving on to play Grand Valley. Really looking forward to that game. That'll be here on the ACHA Network sometime tomorrow. You'll have to tune into ACHA tonight to find out, get the scores and recaps from today's action. But just overall, a dominating performance, a dominating opening 3 games for Michigan. They are looking fierce. They're going to be a tough out for Grand Valley. Looking forward to that game between the Wolverines for the Lakers. And Lou, that's all I got for right now. I mean, we got a quick turnaround again for Sioux College and USF. So
sounds good. Well, we'll put a bow on this one. Again, congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines. Congratulations to Florida Gulf Coast. Tough day for them, but they've had a great year and a great run here at the Plano Center as they congratulate their fans. And, you know, real quick, you know, we see a lot of fan bases that come and follow these kids of all the teams. And this Florida Gulf Coast fan base is one of the best, very respectful as well. So our hats off to them as well. Our final score tonight, Michigan 6 and Florida Gulf Coast nothing. Michigan and Grand Valley tomorrow, as we mentioned. For my partner, Ryan Jones, my tag team partner, yours truly, Lou Gamlin, saying keep your heads up, keep your sticks down, and as always, keep your minds open. Good night, everybody. We'll see you soon on the ACHA Broadcast Network.